Good morning, everybody. This is Tom Broussard. It is Thursday, February 27th. One more video, one more talking about stroke and aphasia. We talked last month about a particular game, SkipBo. You might remember that. And we talked about the game and plasticity and how we all experienced what we did at the game. And how much we learned as a result of that game. So that was very interesting. So I wrote an article about it last month. This is sort of the closing that conversation with what we talked about at that game. So that's what this article is about. And it's really talking about what we experienced and then we reflected on that. So this is more of the reflection of what we talked about at the end of the session. So it's really the session and then reflecting about the session. And here's what we're talking about. I ended up calling it Therapeutic Fun, when a game is more than just fun. And that's what we began to understand. Most of us didn't know that what we were doing was highly therapeutic. And we did talk about that, given that what we talked about the last time, and I'd written all those activities down. And several people, one in particular, but several people said, I guess it was a reflection component of that when they began to realize that everything they had seen and done and experienced, they didn't really know that this was therapeutic. It's very interesting to learn more about plasticity and how the brain works. It takes a lot of time. You have to actually study how your brain works. That means you have to actually study how your brain actually works. So you have to study what you've done, what you've written, what you've thought about, and begin to reflect on those kinds of things, and begin to understand how that brain really does work. Because it isn't by magic. I mean, although we use that magical word sometimes, but it really isn't magic. It's just incredibly complex, incredible. We're talking trillions of connectivity that allows us to learn in the moment. We didn't see it. Now we see it. That means it went in, it integrates, and it comes back out. So it's incredibly fast. But what we all realized at the end of that game last time, that it was very therapeutic, just as therapeutic as anything else we did with our speech therapies along the way. So that was also very interesting. We also realized that we need to be told this, as it were, as much as it is fun, and we've been to lots of different kinds of fun activities with our therapist, but we also have to be more informed. We have to be told that it is fun, and yes, it is therapeutic, and here's why. That's part of this. Why? You have to really reflect on this conversation of the fact that we were doing certain things that would induce plasticity, and then reflect on those kinds of things that were happening in front of you. Sorry for that sound. That's a call, a house call that we don't answer. But anyway, that is how we went through what we had seen and began to realize, and we've always had that saying, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. Well, that's the way it is for us. It's really the way it is for all humans. But we began to realize that an awful lot of we experienced that we would get better as a result of not just doing it, not just being told that, oh, you're doing some good things, you're having fun, but to actually have the time and the thought to reflect on the conversation you had with each other, with your therapist, with the game, as it were. We have to actually go through that metacognition. They'll talk about that, but we actually had to reflect on what it is we were actually experiencing, and then reflect on that, talk about that. But that at the end of this, we realize that all these games really are, they're fun, and yes, they are therapeutic. And as long as you are aware that they are therapeutic, you already have a leg up on how you can come to understand how plasticity actually works, especially when you become aware, because aware has a large component of this, that you go, oh, that is what is happening. That's how I remember it. And the fact that you actually begin to realize that what you're now learning about is what plasticity is. You learn. That's what plasticity is. It is really learning. But to be aware that you are learning such that you're more conscious of that learning, then that learning allows you to get better as a result of this otherwise revolving set of thoughts that come in, integrate, and go back out again, and then they come back in again. But that's what we did at the game. This is the end of that part of the conversation, but we'll look forward to it with the next one next month. More about plasticity, I'm sure. But we did realize that these games are fun and therapeutic, and that they use what we discussed last time with Plasticity Inc. All right, guys, have a good week, a good weekend, and I will see you next month. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.